Hello, thanks for tuning in. I'm Sarah Poet, and today I want to talk about women's relationship to the masculine. And the masculine can be, male identified beings or male embodied beings, where the masculine is the primary polarity that they hold, or the masculine is so much more than that. The masculine is inside of each of us. The masculine is an aspect of the divine, that's half the divine as far as I'm concerned. There's feminine and masculine, divine, that makes up everything in the universe. I mean, creation happens through feminine and masculine in union. And so this creates, everything in the universe is comprised of these two. I really think that our understanding of feminine and masculine, we've associated that with the gender. We've had a lot of trauma, which I'm going to be talking today about how trauma actually distorts women's understanding of the masculine. But I really believe that we're coming through a very, very, very important time where these two archetypal energies of the feminine and masculine, they want to come back in union. But what actually needs to happen is that they be redefined. And I'm going to say rediscovered, because what's happening, and I'm seeing this in myself, I'm seeing this in the women's groups that I host, we are remembering. I'm saying remembering because it's like an ancient remembering. It's something that's programmed in our cellular being that we want a different definition of feminine and masculine. We want different expressions of feminine and masculine. We want to heal our hurt that's related to what we think feminine and masculine has been. And we are activating these ancient remembrances as well as what the future holds. Like, we're walking into the future, but we're helping to redefine feminine and masculine and really activate such a pure and beautiful expression of both feminine and masculine. And we're doing that through our own remembrance and our own healing in relation to this notion of gender and what it's meant to be a woman, what it's meant to be a man. And there's a lot of trauma involved with that. Regardless of how anyone identifies, man, woman, or anything else. And so today, I want to talk about women who probably do relate in relationships, in human relationships with primarily men, but our relationship to the masculine principle, okay, the masculine energetic. So it's really important that women not just identify masculine with man. If you are a woman who relates and partners with male identified beings, then it's really important that you disentangle your notions of masculine from man, because men have been, they've been growing up in a patriarchy too. They've been fed certain stories, certain expectations. I know that many people watching are abreast of some of the unfair social, I'll say, distortions that are put upon men and boys. Like, boys don't cry, men are supposed to have it all together. The masculine is always the strong one, always the provider. There's a lot of very, very deep psychology that really shows that men have not just benefited from the patriarchy. It's not just a privileged walk for men. Like, we say white male privilege, and maybe there's some like rules and laws, but white males have the highest suicide rate. And so, like, white male middle class males have the highest suicide rate of any other demographic. And so we know that it's not just privilege, and we know that it has instilled a lot of distortion inside of men. So women cannot look to men to satiate the deep craving that we have to know the sacred masculine. Are some beautiful men working to re-embrace their understanding of the sacred masculine? They sure are. But on the walk of reclaiming who we are as women, we're reclaiming the sacred feminine oftentimes. And then we come to a point where we want men to just like understand what the sacred masculine is and just to show up differently in partnership. What? Like, why, if we've been doing our work, do we expect that men have been doing so much of their own work in a world that tells men not to do emotional work? Why do we think that they are going to, have access to their own divine remembrance, like just because we're ready for them to do this? Like, yes, there are male teachers who have done a lot of their own sacred remembrance, and there are also, men that haven't. And I talk to women all the time that are like, well, I had this awakening. Why can't my husband have one too? I'll just let there be a pause around that. I had my awakening. Why can't he just have his too? I want the sacred masculine here and now. I want it. Okay. And so, oh, I'm sorry, men. I'm sorry, men, because we really do these well. So here's the gist. When women want sacred union, women who are waking up and they're on their path of sacred remembering, and I have an ebook out there that has these 10 steps in a modern women's pathway to reclaiming feminine and masculine in union, both within the self and between other people. Okay, so we're on that walk and we realize we need and yearn to know the sacred masculine. And the first place we go is to other human men. And then we begin to, and this is subconscious, we begin to project our desire of the sacred masculine onto men. And so what that might mean, I'll give an example. When I ask women, well, what is the divine masculine to you? What do you want from the divine masculine? I often hear a couple of things. The provision, right? He's the provider. The other one that I hear is the riverbanks to my river. I hear that all the time. Like, women want to be held. And yes, of course, like, by all means, let's create safe relationships where we can be held in the whole of who we are, right? And not have to turn down. But I'll just go with those two, like provision, and I want him to be my riverbanks. I want him to be my sacred container. So when I dive into it with women and then I ask questions about their own relationship with their resources, their responsibility with their finances, their own structures for, their businesses. Oftentimes a woman who is really, really wanting the masculine outside of themselves, be it man first and then God, to be their provision, there's actually two things going on. One, she's not doing those things for herself, which is an indicator of the inner masculine in her being offline, like not there. And so she can work with that. Two, she wants something from outside of herself. Like she wants a divine rescue. I'll say it like that. She wants a divine rescue. So these are really deep examples. I know I'm picking the biggest two. So let's go with the other one. She wants him to be the riverbank to her river. And so when I ask women questions about that, like, well, how do you provide riverbanks in your life? How do you provide the structure? How do you provide an improved trust with the masculine? Oftentimes what we find is a lot of female trauma underneath. No shame for that. No shame for that. We are women inside of a patriarchal system where the feminine was turned down and women were turned down. And then a hyper masculine, not the sacred masculine, was turned up. And so there's no shame in this. But what happens is that the women are often wanting something from the masculine outside of themselves that is actually the result of previous trauma with the masculine. That previous trauma could have come from the patriarchy itself that said women are less than. It could have come from church and religion that said women are less than. It could have come from an act of dominance on the part of a man in this lifetime. All of those I very, very much honor because they affect us very, very deeply in the nervous system, in what we believe we can have and do, who we believe we are. So I understand that and I empathize, but I also want to bring us out of victim consciousness, and I want us to unify with the masculine, not necessarily just with a man, because it is not necessarily true. Well, any one human is never going to be your stand-in for the divine. I cannot be that for a man. I cannot be a man's stand-in for the divine feminine. Can't be it. I can be an example of the feminine, but I'm still a human. And so, humans are fallible. So don't ask a man to be a stand-in for the divine masculine for you. You have your own walk of remembrance that's really very, very important for you to have. And on this walk of divine remembrance, you're also healing your trauma related to the masculine. This is very important. I think that this is the most important thing we can do as women. We must heal our masculine related trauma so that we can come into our divine provision. We can come into our unity and our experience of unity. This does not depend on anything outside of you. It truly, truly does not. And yes, on this path, relationships will improve. Yes, on this path, a lot will happen with the outer expressions of the masculine. And you're not putting all your eggs in one basket in this case. You're really coming back and embracing your own reunification with the masculine, the sacred aspects of the masculine. And like I started by saying, you are remembering and activating beautiful energetics of the masculine that maybe you are not actually seeing in the men around you. A traumatized woman, when she has an ideal of masculine energy, of the sacred masculine, when a woman who is traumatized has that ideal, she will attack the men in her life. She will attack the men in her life and say, you are not this. Damn it. Why can't you be better? Why can't you be this? We don't want to do that anymore because it's causing a lot of disharmony in relationships, and women, we need to do better. Okay. And so when a woman resolves her trauma with the masculine and knows these gorgeous qualities of the masculine, and really she's come back into union with the masculine within her, which is gorgeous. Then when she looks at the masculine outside of herself in men, she's going to do so compassionately. In that way, we are just huge, like harbingers of healing energy for what's going on at this stage in the crash and rebuild in the patriarchal system. We're moving toward unity, but women, we have such an amazing role to play, an amazing responsibility to take. So I am urging us to heal our relationship with the masculine on all levels, inside, relationally, and with the divine. And it is my pleasure to be bringing forward to you a new program called Fall in Love with the King. And here I'm using the word king to symbolize that ultimate sacred masculine energy. And the 6-month program, and I will take you through the deep dive and the healing into all of these energetics that I've mentioned here today and more. I will also teach you beautiful energetic restructuring and some priestess arts, lots of meditations, lots of deep, deep healing. And so I know that so many women are so hungry to heal their relationship with the masculine and to really come out of this projection, because the projecting your, first of all, having the trauma in the body doesn't feel good. You know, having these needs of the masculine that can't seem to be met does not feel good. And then projecting those limitations onto a man and saying, meet me, meet me, meet me, and not being met doesn't feel good. And so I want to contribute toward your liberation. And I know that many, many are ready for it. And many women are ready to re-embrace the sacred masculine on all levels and really come into union with this king and fall in love. I'm talking fall in love, like open that heart and know beyond a doubt that you absolutely love the masculine and that you are embracing all parts of this sacred union within. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Learn more at sarahpoet.com and schedule a consultation to talk with me about what's currently going on with your relationship with the masculine, inner, outer, and what we need to clean up. And I am here with and for you. So much love. Thank you.